go.
So, 2011, you started touring with Skrillex, right?
Yeah, that's the very beginning.
How did that beginning start? Because I was there with Sonny back in the day.
Yeah,
And I remember hearing about you.
really.
But what happened from your perspective with you and Skrillex?
So this is 2009-ish, maybe the beginning of 2010. I had this idea. What if I made a song that has like the most samples that I could have in a song, like different samples? That was the concept of it. And this is before my production was on a level that is today, obviously. So like the 100 samples or whatever felt like a lot to me. And so I had this concept like, I'm going to make a song that's based around the idea of having like complextro, just an insane amount of samples, but not just thrown in, have them make melodies and connect intelligently. And so I haven't even made the song yet. I just started working on the song. Maybe had a minute and a half or something like that. And I wake up, I'm on my laptop and I see this photo of Skrillex, no idea what Skrillex is, listen to it. And I was like, this is basically what I wanted to do, but better. Like, damn, who is this guy? And I saw he was blowing up. And it's like, he's basically, he's doing a different genre, but he's basically sort of taken the complex idea that I had and ran with it. So I sent him a message on MySpace. It's like, hey, bro, just discover your music. You're absolutely incredible. You are going to love what I do because like we have the same sort of like method, whatever. Here's my song. And he replied like that same day. Yeah. Which was crazy. And then hearing from his side is like, he just opened his MySpace. My message was last. It was at the very top. He clicked on it. Like it was more or less coincidence. And I was like, why did he reply? And he's like, hey bro, I'm playing a show tonight in England. Can you send me that song? I want to play it. And I was just in my parents' basement and, it's like half naked. I'm like, what the hell's going on? This is crazy. So I sent him that song. That's how we got in touch. And then he was coming to England and I lived in Germany, my parents' basement at this time. And he's with Tim.
Tim Smith.
Tim Smith, my manager.
Our dog.
Still my manager for 14 years now, 15 years. So I took my last Euros to fly to England to meet Tim and Sonny. Wow. And Ryanair. Great, because that's what
the best.
The best. That's what I could afford. And I get there and I meet with them, and it was great. Like, had an immediate connection. Yeah. And
two of the greatest guys.
Amazing people. Yeah. Amazing people. And Sonny was like, dude, you should stay an extra day. Like, I have 2 more shows tomorrow. You can come cruise with us. It's gonna be super fun. I'll get you a new flight. And I was like, no, I don't need a flight. I got this. Don't worry. Meanwhile, I have no dollars left. Like this flight is all I have. So I like call my dad. It's like, hey, they want me to stay an extra day, but I don't have any money. He's like, well, we'll figure it out. Just stay that extra day. We'll figure something out. And like my family didn't have a lot of money to throw around for a flight. So I stay extra day, sleep on the floor with Tim. And then we cruise around in the car. Sonny plays 2 shows. It was an amazing bonding experience. Yeah. And now he's still my manager. I mean, it's been 14 or whatever years since, but things worked out. The flight worked itself out. Everything's good. But yeah. Man,
I have this crazy memory of being at Sonny's warehouse in downtown LA in 2009. Must have been 2009. Wow. And I think he had AIM up on his computer. I want to say it was AIM Instant Messenger. And I remember, and he was like, and he had all these windows up, and he was like, oh, I'm talking to Boys Noise, I'm talking to Wolfgang, I'm talking to Rusko, I'm talking to Zedd, I'm talking to all these, and he had all these DJs up, and this is when he was just like diving in deep, just getting incredible at his production. Yeah. And I just remember him just talking to all these different people, and everyone was, so it's funny that to hear you say from your perspective, like you reached out and he responded, and then you just start, because I saw him from this like his bedroom. Yeah. Like talking, like developing that community. Yeah, he was he was so far in, and he was getting so incredibly talented. And then by the time it popped, he had this whole community. Yeah, it was like supporting him, and that was like, and then he was supporting others like you.
Oh, he was the most supportive artist I've ever met. Yeah, like I was a nobody, right? Besides a kid with an idea and a dream. And then he's like, yo, you should make a remix for me. I was like, I would love to. Like, what do you want me to remix? It's like, I think the song was called The Weekend. Yeah. So it's like, done. Give me a day. So I jump on it. I make a remix. I send it to him. He loves the remix. And he's like, I'm going to put it up on my MySpace. I'm like, really? I don't know if you remember, but that was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
He got so many plays back in the day. For the ones who don't remember MySpace, like that was, and he was blowing up. Yes. Right? Him putting my song on his MySpace player was the biggest promotion you can ask for. I don't even know what would be equivalent, like a playlist. Yeah. Right? And so he put my remix up there. So from that, I've gathered so many fans. And then he brought me on tour. That was my first like EDM touring experience.
Yeah.
And it was fun. Like we were figuring everything out. We had no idea what we were doing. Like his production was very minimal in today's standards. It was me into Porter Robinson into Skrillex. And Porter and I were both using the Native Instruments S4 controller. Yeah. So we shared one. And then I would play my last song. I would kind of like loop it, unplug my laptop. Porter would put his laptop down. We'd plug his laptop in. And I'd be like, all right, guys, bye. And then Porter would start his set. Like it seems so unprofessional, you know. And today you would have like blackouts and moments and lights, but back then there was like no lights, nothing. You were just like
none of the
figure things out.
None of the three of you are on CDJs yet.
No, not at all. Yeah, that's right. Sonny was on like a launch. I don't know what it was. A launch pad.
I thought he had like a tractor pad, or he had like
had something that kept breaking, and he would like tweet like, "Hey, my thing's broken. Does anybody in London have an X-way?" You know, it was a crazy time, but it was so fun, man.
Oh man,
we learned so much. I mean, we learned a lot from Sonny.
Yeah,
but we also like bonded. I've been to cities in America that I didn't know exist.
Yes.
Like I know my English is terrible. Like this is like the beginning of everything. And then I came home from that tour, and to your touring point, like things started exploding. Off that tour, I got a request to go on tour with deadmau5. And I was like, deadmau5 is another hero of mine. It's like, what? How the hell does he even know who I am? And I remember being so confused. I'm like, but how? Like, why would he ask me? Almost like in disbelief. So I got to tour with deadmau5 for a couple months. And on the tail end of that tour, I got a request to tour with Lady Gaga. So it was like, Lady Gaga, like, what is happening? Like, why does everybody want me to play their shows? This is crazy.
You're like, am I good? I guess I'm good.
But at no point did I stop and like think about what I'm doing. It was just like, I'm one thing and now I'm doing the next thing. Now. And then all of a sudden I was on tour for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have a team. I was by myself. I made friends with the production people. And I was like, hey, do you guys have a piece of cloth to cover my feet when I'm on the folding table in the front row in a stadium in front of 80,000 people? It's like, yeah, I think we can find, like it was kind of the vibe. It's like we just figured things out. I didn't know anything about production, but I learned a lot on those 3 tours.
It all happened so fast because also like the EDM scene was rapidly exploding so fast. And like Skrillex was at the forefront of it. And then you were like right there. And the next like .1 iteration, I want to say, right? Like it was like right there. He brought you with him, and then you took off on your own. And I was drumming with Skrillex at the time.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
DJ shows.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, man. And so it would be like me, him, and Tim, and like because
so you guys do go way back.
Yeah, we go way back. We go way back even before that when I was when we were on Warped Tour together.
Yeah,
he was in From First to Last.
Yep.
And I was in a different punk band called Never Heard of It. That was when we first met because I was like the youngest guy on Warped Tour until he then came on.
That's the connections between all these people are so crazy because I've had what was the album called? From First to Last. Was it Heroin?
Oh my God, I don't
Or was that the first song of the album? But I bought the album. So I loved From First to Last. I had no idea when I was on tour with Skrillex that he was any part of that.
the singer.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
The irony is, I bought
so
that.
Different.
I remember buying that album twice because I bought the album and then it was on sale for like $4. And in my like local record store, I was like, $4. I mean, I can't not buy that. I have it. I'll buy it again. I'll put one in the car and put one at home. And then I was on tour with him and I had no idea it was the same guy. Yeah. It blew my mind. But our connections are so deeply intertwined. It makes you think that everything may be a simulation after all.
I'm into it. I'm into the idea.
Could be.
And him and I were like kids playing metal punk rock shows in parking lots. And then he did the Sunny project after that.
Sunny Moore.
Yeah, Sunny Moore, and it was great and unique and cool and like half electronic. Half Bjork sounding.
Right in between.
Like, and then and then I remember I was at the time I was 21 or 22 and I was throwing this weekly art and music event here in Hollywood that got really popular. And Sonny wanted a DJ and I gave him his first DJ shows.
Really?
Yeah, and the first few shows it just said Sonny Moore, DJ Sonny Moore. And then I remember when he called me and he was like, I got a name. I thought of a name. I'm like, what is it? He was like, Skrillex. And I remember telling him, which is so dumb of me, I was like, I don't really like that name. I was like, he was bummed. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, Skrillex. I was like, yeah. He's like, and people could call me like Skrill for short. I was like, 1L or 2L? He's like, 1L. I'm like, but there's 2 L's in Skrillex. I don't know if this is going to work, man. I was so wrong.
Yeah. I mean,
and then I was like, Skrillex is an incredible name.
That's so funny.
But so I put it, that was the first like Skrillex flyer. And then
how were the shows? Like, did people know him at that stage or not yet?
So people recognized him because they knew him as Sonny, right? Because he was
from First to Last.
Yeah, from First to Last had a big following, right? Especially in that world, they were like they had a huge like cult following,
right?
So people knew him as Sonny, not as a DJ, not as Skrillex. Not a single person had heard the name Skrillex, right? And if they were like, oh, DJ Sonny Moore, they would know him from that scene. If they came from that scene,
crazy to think about.
Because then he carried that scene into electronic, right? And then so the first it was at Cinespace. There was 3 rooms. So the first time he DJ'd on the patio in front of like 50 people. And he did really good. I was like, all right, do the little DJ room in the middle, which held like 100 people, and he did that. And then that was when he was like, I got to name Skrillex. And I was like, do it in the theater. That's 300 cap. And he was like, will you drum with me? Oh, because then it'll make it more of a show. Because he wasn't on CDJs or anything, right? I was like,
so what he was on the pads things,
whatever
right?
that pad
Ableton
was.
and pads.
Yeah, sort of. It was a black. I don't remember what it was. I thought it was Native Instruments.
Was it?
It might have been. Anyways, don't quote me on that.
He's like, no.
Yeah.
I think it was M Audio.
M Audio. It was an M Audio.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you, Michael Bowden.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was definitely an M Audio pad. Yes, because he had them all over his room broken.
Yep, they broke all the time.
They broke all the time. And so it was me and him, and we did it there, and we headlined it, and it was packed. It was crazy. And then we did it a handful of times, and then we ended up coming back full circle, and we did Warped Tour together as a duo, which was full circle for him and I.
Right.
To be on Warped Tour together, and then he got the Deadmau5 tour.
Yeah.
And that's also for him. And then it was like boom, and then it was Stratosphere, man, and it was like so. But he was so incredibly amazing. Even in those early things, it was like, bro, you are on to something. This is insane.
I remember reading about it. I was still living in Germany.
Yeah, and
I would see photos of Skrillex's sets on the Deadmau5 tour, like playing on the side of a stage, and there's a huge crowd. I'm like, wow, everybody wants to see this guy. This guy's like blowing up like crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he
Deadmau5 had like that cube thing at the time.
Yep, that was the tour I remember seeing. Is like, it's crazy how things panned out.
Man, that's so amazing. Big shouts to our boys.
Yeah.
Go with Elmo.